Hello makers, and welcome to SRP 2021 with the Creation Station.
An animal or plant is endangered when there are so few left alive on the planet that the entire species is in danger of vanishing forever. When a species is completely gone and not a single one survives anywhere on Earth, it is considered extinct.
Keep an eye out each week for our crafts. This week our endangered animal is the Galapagos penguin, and our craft is a penguin automata. You'll need the Automata kit that we provide, and you'll need PVA glue and a ruler. It can also be very helpful to have binder clips. Your kit should come with a printed sheet. This sheet will help us with some of the dimensions of the toy. For the first step, you'll need 3 regular popsicle sticks and 1 popsicle stick with the hole in the center. You'll also need PVA glue and the ruler. The first layer will consist of the stick with the hole in the center and a regular stick. So we're going to lay these out on the printed sheet where they go according to the outline. It may help to tape these down if you'd like to, but don't do it in a way that's permanent. So now we'll take the glue and the ruler, and we're going to build the next layer, which is 2 regular popsicle sticks, and we're going to use the ruler as a straight edge to help us make the bottoms of these 2 popsicle sticks roughly parallel with each other. This alignment may be a little bit finicky, but when you're feeling brave enough, go ahead and glue them into position. An often repeated step in this process will be to wait for your glue to dry, which is what we're going to do right now. Once it's dry, we'll move on. Inside your kit, you'll find 4 short lengths of popsicle sticks with flat ends. These are spacers which we need to glue right above the central stick with a hole in it. While we wait for the glue to dry for this, we'll have to go ahead and make a whole second wall by repeating the previous couple of steps. When working with the sticks with the holes in the center, you may notice that the hole leans over to one side of the stick. You're going to want to try to make sure that those holes lean in the same direction, which is to say that like the thin end of the stick is in the same direction as the thin end on the other wall. We won't need this paper anymore for a little while. For the next couple steps, we'll need the axle piece and these 4 big popsicle sticks with little notches cut into them. Gather your 2 frame walls and double check to make sure that all the glue is pretty dry. So for the next step, we're going to fit the holes on these walls over the ends of the axle. Those wheels at the end will act as spacers to keep things oriented right. The walls may fall down a bunch, so it may be helpful to have another person help you out, or just get a book or something to hold them up. Or we can carefully move on to the next step and use one of these big popsicle sticks with the notches cut out to kind of hold things into place. When you put this first popsicle stick in, be sure to put it towards the bottom of the frame. As we proceed, you'll notice that I move the levers out of the way a whole lot, and we just want to make sure that they don't get trapped anywhere as we glue pieces into the framework. So now we're going to add the second popsicle stick, and we're actually going to go ahead and glue it into place. In the video, you'll notice that I glue it on the inside of the framework, and that works just fine. I've waited a little bit, and now I can glue the other side down. Once it's in place, wait for the glue to dry. Now in the animation, I'm going to darken these lower layers because we'll be working above the axle from now on towards the top of our frame. I'm going to add another notched stick to the top, resting on top of the spacers that we glued in earlier, and I'm going to move the levers just to make sure that they don't get trapped in someplace weird. This is the same sort of procedure as the bottom layers. I'm just going to use the notched sticks on top to kind of get some stability, and then we'll glue them in one at a time. You'll see now that the levers are kind of trapped in the middle on top of the frame, and that's where we want them to be. A little overview of our progress so far. In an earlier version of this kit, I had several steps which demanded clumsy hand fitting. It seemed to me that this was not a fun thing to hand people as a kit. When it came to fitting the penguin on and making that work, the situation became rather more bleak. So I decided to add a 3D printed part to the kit that should help the fitting work a lot better. For the next steps, we'll need the plastic spacer and the two sticks with slots cut into them. From now on, we'll call these the guide sticks. The slots in the guide sticks have been intentionally cut off center, and we need to make sure that the centers are facing towards the middle of the automaton. So now we'll fit the guide sticks over these levers in the middle, and we'll use the plastic spacer to help us fit and get the spacing right. There are 3 prongs on the bottom of the plastic spacer, one of which sets the spacing between the sticks and the other 2 kind of hold the sticks together. Once everything is fit on there, to do the hand fitting, you're going to spin the axle and kind of feel around for friction, and you're going to move all of the elements around until you get as little friction as possible. Once you find a place you like, you can go ahead and glue the guide sticks into position. You'll notice in the video, I lay glue down and then I re-hand fit all of the parts. But if you don't want to do it that way, once you have your original fit, you can take a pencil and draw a line across your guide sticks and the top of your frame, and that will give you a line that you can realign everything to once you put the glue in. So here I'm just going to kind of wiggle stuff around while the glue is still wet, and I'm going to hand fit it. And again, we're looking for just as little friction as possible for those levers coming out of the top of our framework. Once that's in, you can just let the glue dry. Here's another little overview of how the project should look at this point. At the bottom of the included printed sheet, there is an array of shapes which correspond to the parts of the penguin toy. For the next step, we will need the head pieces, the beak piece, and the penguin holding stick. Binder clips will help us keep things together while gluing. We're going to use one headpiece as the base, and we'll place the beak piece on top of it. Using the holding stick as a spacer, position the beak piece in such a way as it is at least one stick distance from the rear edge of the headpiece, as pictured. You could draw a line to help keep this orientation, like I did. Dab some glue on the base stick and add the beak on top in position. Dab some lower glue on top and add the next headpiece. Carefully pinch the sides together to help the glue settle, and apply a binder clip if you'd like. Here's a shot from the top. Grab the two body pieces for the next step. The positioning of these parts is less critical, so you can have a little fun with it. You just want to make sure that your penguin still has a face when you're done. Glue a body piece to each side of the penguin as we've already constructed it. Next, for the wings and the tape. Here's a top-down shot of where you want the wing pieces to end up. Notice that they're slightly behind the head pieces we already have glued into our penguin. Lay your piece of tape across the bottom of your penguin at that location. Lay the tape down tightly along the side of the penguin until you get about halfway along the flank. Attach the wing to the remaining flap of tape. Be sure to burnish the tape against the wood pieces pretty tightly. There will be a small gap between the penguin and the wing so that the wing can kind of move freely and flop around. You can glue the penguin holding stick into position as shown on screen now, or you can wait until after you're done painting it, which is the next step. Don't forget to glue the little feet on too. This is how I painted my Galapagos penguin, but you don't have to paint it the same way. You could get wild with it and make your penguin your own. Mine is a more subdued penguin-esque motif. Now it's time to fit the penguin onto the automaton frame. In the middle of the plastic spacer there should be a slot that you can stick the penguin holding stick into. Then you can stick the plastic spacer back onto the guide sticks, just as we did when we were setting the spacing for everything. Our goal here is pretty similar as before. We're going to spin the axle and we're going to feel for friction, but this time we're going to kind of feel for friction on the penguin's wings. And the best way to start this all is to set your levers so they're as high as they can go. When the levers are in their highest position, this represents the highest that the penguin's wings are going to come up. And so we can use that to help us sort of set how high our penguin needs to be in the spacer block. So I kind of got it right on the first try in this example here, but we'll go through a couple of examples of what it may look like if it doesn't work out. And for me, this is high enough, the wings are high enough up, but if you want to, you can set the penguin a little lower and try to get more wing action going. When you've found a position and a fit that you like, you can glue the penguin into the spacer block and glue the spacer block onto the framework. Or you can just let it all kind of float. This means you'll have to hold on to the spacer block when you actually work the automaton, but it does mean that you can play with the penguin independently and doesn't have to be glued in. So on screen here, I have adjusted it so that the penguin is too high up and the wings aren't going to be moving enough, and the penguin kind of needs to be lowered. So for demonstration purposes and not because of an accident, I'm going to lower the penguin too far, and we can see what it looks like when the penguin is too low and the wings are bumping too much against those levers. You get a lot of friction and it just doesn't work as well. We're low enough here that we can see the wings move, but we could still stand to lower it a little bit. Sometimes you'll notice one wing goes high and the other one doesn't, and that means you may have to adjust your axle left and right a little bit as you go. But this is the process. Moving the penguin up and down inside the spacer block, moving it closer or further away from the levers, and just kind of playing with it until it all works out. And it should work out if you play with it long enough and you approach it with some patience. Looks like we're back to a good fit, just like at the beginning. I hope you had fun putting this kit together, and I hope you check out our other SRP 2021 Color Your World projects out, and they should all be pretty cool. And come into the creation station if you got any kind of project you want to get up to. Have a wonderful day.